Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Janos, creator of Pinoy Tech Dad. Today I'm gonna tell you all about my experience with the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro 5G after using it for almost 2 months now. We're not gonna focus too much on the specs as this has been rehashed over and over again in other reviews. So what I'd really like to share is my actual experience with the Mi 10 Pro as my daily phone. In this video, expect to see a lot of camera samples as this I believe is the Mi 10 Pro's strongest feature. And at the end of the video, I'll let you know whether the Mi 10 Pro 5G is worthy of being your next flagship phone. Normally, I do a quick unboxing in my reviews, but I've already done a video on that linked up on the right corner, so if you want to watch that, go ahead and click the link. In terms of design, the Mi 10 Pro has a bigger and curved edge screen compared to last year's flagship Mi 9. The Mi 10 Pro definitely feels heftier than the Mi 9, but you'll still be able to use it one-handed. At the back panel, they ditched the shiny glass finish and opted for a diffused matte finish look, which I prefer. Now, for those of you who love the Google Assistant button on the Mi 9, sadly, there's no such button on the Mi 10 Pro. You just have the volume rocker and the power button on the right side. The Mi 10 Pro also comes with a dual speaker setup, one at the bottom and another at the top. Now, the China version that I have with me comes with a dual SIM card slot setup. Unfortunately for the global version, I've read that they only offer a single SIM card slot setup option, which is a bummer. And lastly, you get a 4-camera setup at the back featuring a 108 megapixel wide-angle lens, an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, a 12 megapixel portrait lens, and a 20 megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens. Just a quick side note, you'll probably find yourself hitting the bottom lens area with your index finger a lot, but you'll eventually get used to it. You also get a 20 megapixel punch hole style selfie camera. The MIUI is baked into the Android 10 operating system that the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro comes with. As of the time of this review, I'm currently on the MIUI 11, but very soon, Xiaomi will be upgrading its flagship phones to the MIUI 12 platform. Overall, the MIUI 11 is a pretty solid user interface. It's quite easy and simple to use, and I prefer it over Huawei's EMUI or Oppo's ColorOS. As I mentioned, I have the China ROM version, but it was pretty easy to install the Google Play Store and other Google services. Now, when it comes to bloatware, well, mine came with a lot of pre-installed Chinese apps, but most of them can be easily uninstalled. Now, if you don't like the overall feel of the MIUI, you can always install your favorite third-party launcher. I always install Nova Launcher on whatever phone that I use as it gives me a lot of flexibility and personalization. Heading over to the audio portion, I think the Mi 10 Pro probably has the best phone speakers I've ever heard so far. I normally don't pay attention to phone speakers as the sound quality is usually crap, but I was pleasantly surprised by the Mi 10 Pro's speakers. They sound full, and once you listen to them in person, you'll just be able to tell that these are good sounding phone speakers. But take note, I do emphasize that these are still phone speakers. Now, as for the high-res audio certification, unlike the Mi 9T or the Mi 9T Pro, there's no option to toggle the high-res audio on or off. And take note, with the Mi 9T series phones, you had to connect to a wired headphone to experience high-res audio. Now, I can't really tell if the Mi 10 Pro's high-res audio is already working, but overall, the sound quality, whether in movies or music, sounds good whenever I'm connected to Bluetooth earphones. The Mi 10 Pro is equipped with a very sharp and very bright 6.67-inch Super AMOLED screen that has a hybrid Full HD resolution. It has a 90Hz screen refresh rate, which makes motion look smoother, and a 180Hz touch sampling rate, which means it is very responsive. The Mi 10 Pro that I got came with a pre-installed screen protector. However, some people have reported that theirs didn't come with one. Now, as to whether the screen is good, let's just say that it screams 100% flagship. It's a really gorgeous looking screen made by Washing Optoelectronics, which is a subsidiary of TCL. It can go up to 1120 nits brightness, which will allow you to use it outdoors without any issues. Colors are punchy and lively out of the box, but if you need a more accurate display, you can actually switch to sRGB mode or DCI-P3 and tweak the colors to your preference. As for viewing content, some people might dislike the punch hole design, but you'll eventually get accustomed to it. Also, the Mi 10 Pro has an always-on display that you can customize. You can choose from different clock and background designs as your ambient display. Lastly, it has an under-screen fingerprint scanner which works well, but I actually prefer the fingerprint scanner on the Redmi K30, which is integrated with the power button. Camera-wise, this is where the Mi 10 Pro really shines. Samsung's HMX camera sensor really pushes the camera capability of the Mi 10 Pro to its absolute best. Also, the Snapdragon 865 processor allows the Mi 10 Pro to reach up to 8K resolution. That's freaking insane. And if you want actual 8K samples, I'll put a link on the right corner so you can watch in full 8K. The Mi 10 Pro is packed with tons of camera features, and you certainly have plenty of options with a variety of lens included. You can go from ultra-wide angle up to 50 times hybrid zoom. Of course, at 50 times zoom, the image degrades significantly. The Mi 10 Pro's main selling point is its 108 megapixel sensor, which uses pixel binning to achieve the so-called 108 megapixels. So any photo shot in 108 megapixel mode will allow you to zoom in several times into the image without losing much of the details. And while the picture quality looks really good, I wouldn't really use it that often as the resulting image file size is really huge. At 1.7 aperture for its main wide-angle lens, the Mi 10 Pro lets in a lot of light, making your photos look bright and properly exposed. Now, aside from 8K video recording, the Mi 10 Pro can also do 4K 30 frames per second and 4K 60 frames per second. However, optical image stabilization is only available up to 4K 30 frames per second. The Mi 10 Pro also has a super smooth feature for video stabilization, but it limits your resolution to 1080p 30 frames per second. Now, for those who know their camera settings, there's also an included Pro mode as well. Moving on to the front camera, the 20 megapixel selfie camera is a little bit disappointing as it can only shoot up to 1080p 30 frames per second. Now, the quality is okay, but there's really nothing special about it. And if you're a vlogger who uses the selfie camera a lot, the Mi 10 Pro might not be the best option for you. Lastly, the Mi 10 Pro actually has a night mode. It performs alright and way better than last year's Mi 9, but it's still not as good as Huawei's nighttime capabilities, although Xiaomi is definitely improving. Now, with a 4,500 mAh of battery capacity, the Mi 10 Pro has enough power to last you for a day. I get around 7 to 8 hours of screen on time if I push the battery near its limits. And if you want to get more battery life out of the Mi 10 Pro, you can actually adjust the screen refresh rate to 60 Hz. But what I really love about the Mi 10 Pro is its fast charging capability. It can charge up to 50 watts using the 65-watt charger that it comes with. From a single-digit battery percentage, you can get up to 100% within 50 to 55 minutes. The Mi 10 Pro can also now charge up to 30 watts wirelessly. Unfortunately, I couldn't test it myself as of the time of this review as there were no 30-watt wireless chargers available. Lastly, the Mi 10 Pro can do reverse wireless charging as well. So for emergency cases, you can definitely use this feature if anyone needs it. Equipped with a Snapdragon 865 processor, the Mi 10 Pro will give you one of the best gaming experiences out there. It has Game Turbo, which is a dedicated software that enhances your gaming experience. Now, needless to say, this eats graphically intensive games for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and still has enough power for midnight snacks. By the way, I tested its capability of emulating PS1, PS2, PSP, and GameCube games, and you can watch that through the link on the upper right corner. Now, you do have to keep in mind that the Mi 10 Pro is not a gaming phone, so there won't be any elaborate cooling system on this, so expect the back panel to get a little warm after prolonged gaming. I didn't experience any performance throttling, so huge thumbs up for the Mi 10 Pro. The Mi 10 Pro has the latest Wi-Fi protocol, simply called the Wi-Fi 6, and one of its biggest selling point is its 5G connectivity. While 5G isn't widely available in my country, I've been able to test it at my office, and it works well. It's definitely faster than my 4G signal, but still not as fast as the advertised max speed of a 5G network. And from experience, I've had no issues with my phone signal even though my Mi 10 Pro is the China version. Just make sure to do extra research about the available signal bands of your mobile network service provider before purchasing a Mi 10 Pro. Now, most reviewers often forget to mention that the Mi 10 Pro has a P2I protection, which means that it has a nano coating that protects it from splashes. Now, it's not as good as an IPS waterproof rating, but it's better than nothing at all. Another overlooked feature is its infrared blaster. This allows the Mi 10 Pro to act as a universal remote as long as your device has an infrared receiver. Lastly, the Mi 10 Pro comes with a free phone case that is actually worth using. It has a textured back panel that helps a lot with the grip. Now, it might seem that the Mi 10 Pro is a perfect phone based on what I've said so far, but I'll be the first to say that there really is no perfect phone out there. So I'm gonna point out some of the things I don't like about the Mi 10 Pro. First, the price. Xiaomi hasn't been shy about the fact that they intended to release a premium device for the Mi 10 line. And while the Mi 10 Pro does live up to being a premium phone, it just breaks the hearts of Mi fans who are used to getting flagship level features at very affordable prices. Next, a lot of people who intended to get the global version were not only disappointed by the high asking price, but also with the fact that they are getting a single SIM card slot version. And all I can say to that is, why? It just doesn't make sense. And of course, the big three complaints are still there. No expandable memory, no waterproof rating, and no headphone jack. Now, I don't need to expound on those three missing features as they're pretty self-explanatory. Lastly, Xiaomi's pre-installed apps are still not as good as other options. The MIUI video, music, and browser applications are not something you'll use at all. But thankfully, there are great third-party apps out there, so some of you might be able to overlook this flaw. Alright, so for those who skipped directly to this portion, yes, the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro is a fantastic flagship phone in 2020. Even at 1,000 euros, you still get tremendous value with this phone. And for those in the Philippines, expect the prices to be much lower than the launch price in Europe. The Mi 10 Pro definitely deviates from Xiaomi's budget-friendly flagship offerings from previous years, but once you have the Mi 10 Pro in your hands, there is absolutely no doubt that what you're holding is a premium device worthy of its asking price. It's still much cheaper than Samsung's flagship S20 Ultra, but it offers almost the same value at the fraction of the cost. Lastly, I know a lot of you might be choosing between the Mi 10 Pro, OnePlus 8 Pro, and Huawei P40 Pro. So here's my oversimplified take. If you're looking for the best camera on a phone bar none, the Huawei P40 Pro should be your top choice. Now, if you're looking for the best Android experience, the OnePlus 8 Pro offers the cleanest user interface out there. But if you're looking for the best balanced experience, I really think that the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro should be at the top of your list. And if you have more questions about the Mi 10 Pro, feel free to ask me in the comments section. Anyway, if you want to get the Mi 10 Pro, I'll put the links in the description box. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button so you can watch more videos like this in the future. Now that's it for today, guys. Stay safe and have a great day.